All right, good morning, everybody. It is great to see so many people here checking out this magnificent space. I'm so thrilled to be here along with our Governor Lamont. Thank you so much for coming by the Swift Factory and for your help in making this project happen. Senator Doug McCrory, our senator who's been a tireless champion for this project and so many others. Gwendolyn Thames, our Deputy Commissioner of DECD and formerly Council President here in the city of Hartford, a longtime champion of this project. The Community Solutions team, legislators from around the state, our Commissioner of Department of Economic and Community Development, so many others, and I'm going to let Glenn take the task of acknowledging everybody that needs to be acknowledged. But my job is to welcome everybody here this morning, and just to give you a little sense of what this place is and what it means. We're standing right now in the Swift Factory in the Northeast neighborhood, as Steve Harris's hat says, the 06120. This factory was, for many years, a gold leaf factory. This is the place that produced the gold leaf that decorates the top of our state capitol. This factory was the economic heart of this neighborhood, employed hundreds of people, helped create pathways to opportunity to the middle class. But a couple of decades ago, this factory closed down. And instead of being an engine of economic growth and opportunity in the neighborhood, it became a blight on the neighborhood. It became a weight that weighed down the neighborhood as the building deteriorated further and further. Because of the vision of Community Solutions, because of the partnership with the state of Connecticut, because of CRDA, because of private investors, because of so many people working together with our community and community leaders and members involved and active in that effort, this building has now been brought back to life. And it's been brought back to life once again as a center of economic growth and economic opportunity. As we took the tour just a few minutes ago, the governor heard from some of the business owners who now run their businesses from this factory. You heard from Mark, who runs his plumbing company here. You heard from Sasa Harriet, whose home care business is operating out of here, and they've been partnering with the city as we've worked to vaccinate our community, going door to door to vaccinate those same folks that they serve and take care of. Terrain, whose business is focused on mental health in our community. We could go on and on about the businesses that are here, but what's important is that they're growing jobs in this neighborhood again. And nearly 75% of the businesses that are operating out of the Swift Factory are owned by entrepreneurs of color. More than half of them are women-owned. When we talk about working together to create inclusive growth, that's what this is. That's what the Swift Factory is today. And it's because of the partnership of so many people who are here today, so many people who have worked, sometimes with recognition, oftentimes without recognition, to make this possible, that's happening. And I also want to say that we're now standing in a space, a part of which, along with the downstairs that you just saw, will soon be the new branch of the Hartford Public Library, where our young people can come after school and read and learn and access technology, where those who are searching for jobs can come in and search right here, where those who may be working on the path to citizenship can come and build their skills, where all of the incredible things that the library does can be done right here. And what's most powerful of all is that those young people and those folks who are coming into the library to learn, to read books, to access technology, are doing it down the hall from those amazing entrepreneurs, so that they won't just have access to the opportunity the library provides, they'll have access to the example that these entrepreneurs provide day after day right here in the Northeast neighborhood. So with that, welcome to the Swift Factory, and it's my pleasure and privilege to turn it over to my old colleague and a tremendous partner, our Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Economic and Community Development, Gwendolyn Thames.
Thank you, Mayor, and it's always great. Oh.
I just want to invite all the tenants because I want them to join all.
Oh, yes, please. This is about you, absolutely. But thank you, Mayor, for welcoming us. And it's always great to be here to highlight a project in my city. And as the mayor said, we were partners in crime at once, and we got this project over the finish line because this has been more than a decade in the making. And so as we celebrate Economic Development Week, because that is the heart of why we're here, to really proclaim May 10th through the 15th as Economic Development Week in our state, we wanted to really highlight a project that was a model. And the Swift Factory represents that as part of that inclusive growth. When you look at an underperforming, abandoned factory that was sitting idle in a community that was under-resourced, undercapitalized, the 06120 is one of the top, most impoverished census tracts in our nation, not our state, in our nation. And we have assets such as the Swift here that was sitting. We had to do something, right, to really bring this back to productive use. And it was a widespread community effort that was really the heart of the community was at the center of it, and really informing what was the future of the Swift Factory. And so here today, you see all these entrepreneurs, small businesses, community leaders. They represent the community and what the Swift Factory has become, and what economic and community development really is, and what that model looks like when you have both public, private, philanthropy, all stepping up what the art of the possible is. And that's what this represents today. And that's why we wanted to highlight Swift during Economic Development Week. So I just want to acknowledge the Swift Factory, John Thomas, he will speak momentarily, all the tenants, all our community partners for job well done, and more work ahead, right? The struggle's real, it continues, but this is such a solid foundation, and we're going to keep at it. So thank you. We have several speakers here today, but one who I'm going to go off script because she was able to join us is Miss Helen Nixon. And Miss Helen Nixon is a longtime Hartford resident and resident of the Northeast community, and she was chair of the NRZ, the Neighborhood Revitalization Zone, for many, many years, and I had the pleasure and honor of working with her. And she has been at this project with every administration, every council, all the leaderships, with her resilience and persistence to make this happen, along with Steve Harris. And I wanted to be able to acknowledge her today and give her some time to speak about what this means, because she's seen all the various ups and downs, shock waves that this community and city has seen. And so I really wanted to acknowledge her for her resilience and persistence, because that's what it takes to do urban investment in our communities.
Thank you, Gwendolyn. Amen. Thank God. Let's give God all the honor, the glory, and the praise, because it was him that did that. And thank you, Glenn and Governor Lamont. And thank you for this opportunity for me to stand here and speak. Y'all don't really know, this is one of the best neighborhoods in the city of Hartford, the Northeast neighborhood. I came to Hartford back in the late 50s, and I never moved out of this neighborhood. I still lived here. Okay, all the buildings around there, I sold most of the houses around there. All in this area here, we all work together. It just goes to show you what happened when you work together. Now, we didn't have to stay here, but we stayed here because we wanted to make a difference. We wanted to have a better quality of life for our citizens. So what we did, we band together, the neighborhood band together, and determined we were going to do something with this neighborhood. And thank God for Community Solutions. If it wasn't for them, they came in with a solution, okay? Got the right name, because this area was getting to be one of the worst neighborhoods in the city. But they came here with a plan, okay? And we jumped on board right away because we knew that they were gonna help us make a difference in this neighborhood. Right now, Community Solution is our anchor in the Northeast neighborhood. We never had an anchor. We always, it's just the housing authority, and we didn't have an ad insurance or Hartford Hospital or nothing like that. So when the community solution, I'm a little nervous right now because I just found out about this about an hour ago, so excuse me, okay? But I'm excited. I'm excited because something is really now about to happen in this neighborhood. And yes, thanks God, we're going to do this building. I can't wait. And I always said I wanted to leave a legacy before I left here. And this is my legacy. Y'all remember Helen Nixon. This is my baby. This is my baby, okay? And I determined that I'm not leaving here until that thing is going to be completed. We had just about a week or so ago, we had the privilege of submitting proposals for our priorities in the neighborhood to the city of Hartford. We made community solution in this neighborhood our top priority. So thank God you guys are all here, so you know what our top priority in this neighborhood is: community solution and this library and economic development and all of that. So I just want to thank you guys for coming here, for recognizing us. And just go to show, when you all work together, we got everybody here today, everybody. When we all work together, this is going to be one of the best neighborhoods in the city of Hartford. As far as I can say, it is one of the best because I live here. Okay? So we're going to make this the best. You see all of this around here? This is community solution. It's going to be the solution to rehabbing all this stuff around here. I'm looking for this whole neighborhood, this whole community to, when you guys come back, you won't even recognize the city. Everybody want to knock the doors in and come and live in here. I knew that. That's why I never moved. I knew you guys were going to come back. You're going to like it. We close to 91. We close to the river. We close to the airport. This is one of the only neighborhoods in the city that everything comes right through, okay? So come on, guys. Let's make this one of the best. And again, I thank you all for coming. And God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Together, we're going to do it. All right.
Thank you, Ms. Nixon, and I'm going to call up her partner in crime, Steve Harris, who has been in the 06120. I don't know if he's prepared to speak, but I have to acknowledge you, Steve, because again, you've been at this project and just a voice for this community and for investment in this community, and a leader on why we're having the library relocate here in this facility just below us as well. So Steve, please say a few words.
Thank you. Good afternoon. And I don't have a whole lot to say because my buddy back here said pretty much all. But like her, I've lived in this neighborhood for 72 years. I've been on Cleveland Avenue for 72 years. And I want to say, there's things that come into your life that help change your life. Like someone said, I used to walk past this building all the time. I knew they was doing something with gold over here when it was open. But I mean, you know, you're young, that's a little big for me. But let me just say this. These folks that you see back here, patronize them. Patronize them. Because they thought enough to come back home. Let's think of them enough to support them and keep them afloat. And to community solutions, let me say this. Ellen has already said it, but I'm going to say it. You have made the difference in this neighborhood. You have brought hope back to us. And we're forever appreciative of that. So again, thank you, Community Solutions. God bless you all.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Next, we're going to have John Thomas, a representative from Community Solutions and the Swift Factory. I've known John for many, many years, and when this opportunity came about, he jumped right in and really got in the trenches with the community to really go through that exercise of really understanding what the needs were and what was the art of the possible and how to translate that into where we are today. So, John?
Thank you, everyone, and I thank Ms. Nixon for thanking God, and I'm going to give you another reason to thank God. I've got a script. Everyone knows how I love to hear my own voice. I just want to say we're grateful to all the leaders present and those that are not who have made Swift possible. We'd like to welcome everyone to North Hartford and to the Swift factory, what we lovingly call in the neighborhood Black Wall Street. Thank you, Deputy Commissioner Thanks, for the introduction, and thanks to the Department of Economic Development and along with Mike Freemuth and the Capital Region Development Authority for their support and funding during construction here at Swift. As always, we thank the mayor and the city of Hartford for their support and counsel in the past, and as we plan the next phase of work at Swift and in North Hartford. And of course, we thank Ms. Nixon, Ms. Helen Nixon, Darlene Robertson-Childs, Miles Watson, Steve Harris, Miles Wilson-Tolliver, Ms. B. Powell, Jean Holloway, and those who attend our neighborhood NRZs, which we've attended every meeting for the past 6 years since we first started this project. We'd like to acknowledge Senator McCrory, Representative Reyes, and Representative Simmons, Representative McGee, and we welcome you to Swift. We'd like to welcome Governor Ned Lamont back to Swift. We just had a immunization event a few weeks back here, and we were honored to have him here. We welcome you back, and we thank you for proposing a $150 million fund to help small businesses owned by women, minorities, veterans, and disabled individuals in the state's COVID-19 economic recovery. Here at Swift, we share an understanding of the power of investing in minority-owned businesses and the people in this community to lift up an entire community. In that vein, I would like to thank Julio Concepcion and his team at the Hartford Chamber of Commerce for the leadership they have provided as we create our Community Financial and Business Support Center, and David Hopkins of the Greater Hartford Urban League for the strong support given to us as we build out our tenant relations approach here. Swift represents the power of partnerships to transform a historic asset into a community anchor that responds to the current needs of a community. And I just, in closing, I'll just let you know, they met my needs first. I've been in this community all my life. I lived in that house for 6 years. I used to stare at this factory and dream about what we could do with this factory. I had no idea that I would be actually part of this process. And when I was in that house, I was part of the problem out here. I came here as a former Hartford Fire Department firefighter, disgraced because of a public event. And I said that when I interviewed here. And the person that interviewed me said, hey, you're perfect for the job. And over the years, I truly believe that we are going to accomplish what we set out to accomplish here in supporting the growth of black business. As a black person in America, I know the history of black people in America and our rise. And the two key elements in the rise of the black community, and I could look 2 years after Reconstruction, we had black senators, we had black businesses all over the place. Tulsa, Oklahoma was not the only black Wall Street in America. They were all over this country. And right now we have an opportunity to create one here. But the two things that were key in the rise of our people were the black church and black business. We've reached out to the black church. We have those relationships in place, and we plan a lot of events here for them. But the key to it all is going to be providing examples of hustling forward for our people that are around here in this neighborhood, because for far too long, we've been hustling backwards in this neighborhood. I'd just like to say, as a member of this team, I started here with 11 hours going at fellowship meetings and doing 11 hours here. And I had 9 years of recovery when I got here. I kept on that path. I worked here for 11 hours. I was promoted to a salaried position here a year after I got here. I was promoted recently, and now I'm a middle-class citizen from right here in this neighborhood. I've been a planning and zoning commissioner since I've been here. I've been on boards and commissions. This position that I've had, this shot that I've been given, I've taken it and I've run with it. And I encourage everybody else who gets a shot here to do the same. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I'm a little self-centered. I'd like to introduce, I tell you, Chef Walter is buzzing around here. He's creating a buzz here through his business. He's operating, hustling 100% all of the time. I've known him around the city. As a matter of fact, I just realized we actually did a contract with him when we first got here when he was at the American Legion. And we always honored him and respect him for what he does. I would like to introduce one of our tenants, our ghost kitchen operator, Chef Walt Little.
Good afternoon. As the young sister said, God be the glory. I'm gonna keep this short because the rest of it got to go into the book. It's as simple as this: the Swift Factory. It's like, it reminds me, I grew up playing the saxophone at the Artists Collective right here at Clark Street under Jackie McLean. And I remember him, he constantly was saying how when he opened up a building, an art school, it was going to be on the north end of Hartford. And before his passing, he did that on on Albany Avenue and Woodland Street. And it's funny because I always said that if I had that opportunity, I would do the same thing. He didn't say he was going to open it, God be the glory, to West Hartford or Bloomfield. He said it's going to be on the north end. And I said, if I ever had the financial opportunity to do that, I would do the same thing. Long story short, I came home from being in and out of incarceration in 2010. I worked 3 years, opened my first business on Albany Avenue. And before that, years in the 80s, I worked at Gaetano's, shout out to the Carbones, Gaetano's restaurants, and all them nice high classes restaurants, because without them, I wouldn't have developed a passion into culinary arts. So I would like to give them their props due. Kurt Suk up in Simsbury, who owns a nice restaurant in the Acres right now, my mentor. But yet and still, I always had a desire to take all my passion to the north end. Because of my record and things, I applied for jobs and stuff, been refused. But so one of my mentors said, man, you should open your own business. And I opened it right there in the gas station and on the corner of Albany and Garden. And when I used to work on the line, I used to have a passion. I used to look at the line cooks. I was a dishwasher. I used to look at Vinnie Carbone and them. I had a hunger. And I just was like, man, one day that's going to be me on the line. And then, over time it was. I became that man on the line. And like I said, long story short, when I got that opportunity to open my own business, it was mine. It was personal. I had a passion. I didn't care where I was, and it was beautiful because my community embraced me. Brothers came home. They heard me talking in jail during the recession, saying I didn't care about a recession. I'm not scared because I will fry some fish in front of the gas stations, in front of the barbershops. And so I opened my first business, and one of my most successful stories. Sorry, but I'm very passionate about this. But one of my most successful stories is a young man that's standing next to me right here, McConan Skeet, who had that same look in his eye. He begged me for a job. I looked at him. He came in every day, straight off the streets. Young man, and he came off the streets, and he was like looking at me, begged me every day for a job, where I finally said, man, come on, get in here and jump on them dishes. And when he was washing the dishes, watching me work, he had that same look in his eye, like, one day I'm gonna be on that grill. And he's like, he's still with me. 8 years later, successful, talented chef, and it goes on. And he has the niece and role models after him. So right now I'm just here, I'm gonna advertise a little bit. We got, a Caribbean straight from Jamaica right here. We got Mac, we got me, we got Talented, we got all this talent right here. We infuse jerk chicken Alfredo is one of my best and most popular dishes right here. Fusion of carbones with the jerk seasonings coming straight from Jamaica, and we got a plan and a mission. Now back to the Swift Factory. It's like having that father, with big money that could invest in your son's dream. Unfortunately, my story don't come like that. I couldn't see myself. I probably wouldn't be able to get into Blueback Square or West Farm Mall and everything where everybody want to see me. But with $200 and a handshake from Tyrick, they allowed me to be in a state-of-the-art building like this. And sadly to say, you can't give somebody like me that kind of opportunity, because we're gonna blow the doors off. We claim this building, we claim this block, we whole beautiful building, we claim it as ours, you know, and we appreciate it. We are humbled because, you know, in this field right here, there was many of us. Like I said, shout out to the Carbones and places like Gaetano's and Chuck's Steakhouse that used to be in the Civic Center, where all of us used to walk from Albany Avenue all over and work in these places. But right now, there's a long line of chefs, and I'm pleased, just like hip-hop music, to be a part of that generation, to watch all these upcoming chefs. Shout out to C.T. Smith, Chef Al, you know, and Jerkway, people that's jerking chicken in their backyards, that all these young men that's even up under me that's getting money in this field, it just excites me. And I'm just blessed to be a part of that, but yeah, there's some black entrepreneurs out here that's cooking food and great food, and we're going, you know, right here in Hartford, Connecticut, we're making a statement. And I thank the Swift Factory for giving us the opportunity. God bless you.
Thank you, Chef Walter. We want you to blow the doors off, and you would not be a smart businessman if you didn't put in a shameless plug, so kudos to you. And hashtag support Chef Walter. So next we're going to hear from members of our delegation, and first and foremost, our own senator here in the city of Hartford, Douglas McCory.
Y'all gonna hate me. Whenever somebody say I'm gonna be brief, be prepared. I got my timer on here. The program said 2 minutes. I'm gonna set my timer and I'll be off. Our folks, boy, listen. First of all, I wanna thank everybody. Let me hold it, boom. Thank everyone for being here. We're here because, for a number of reasons, right? There's a lot of praise given to all the people in this community, and a lot of praise been given to Community Solutions. But I'm gonna pivot a little bit from that. Yes, Community Solution, you are a vehicle, but people that live in this community, that have lived in this communities and communities like this all over the state of Connecticut, you guys are the hero. You guys are the hero because you were here when state government wasn't here. You stayed here when private entity did not put funds in this community. You were here, you survived every barrier that existed in these urban communities in Connecticut for the last 60 years, ever since white flight in the 60s. So you guys are the hero. And the reality is, it's about time. It's about time that government and private entity has come together to help, not help, but throw a lifeline. Throw a lifeline to the people that need it. It ain't like we didn't have ideas before. It ain't like we didn't have vision. It's not like Mark didn't want to be an entrepreneur. I saw the article that they wrote about you there. We all got vision in this community. We just didn't have opportunity. We didn't have access to capital. We didn't have access to banking. That's what we didn't have. We all had ideas, but we didn't have an opportunity to go after them like we have now. And we're here, the governor's here because he has a plan to put $150 million out in the state government for small business and minority and women-owned business, everybody else. Thank you, and about time. And this is, again, an opportunity, if done correctly. Because, see, everyone holds me accountable in this community because I live in this community, and I've been in this community all my life. And it's my responsibility to hold everybody above me accountable. So when those resources come in, we want to make sure we transform communities, not just drop crumbs or buckets and cents in them. We got to transform community, and the way you transform the community, you work with the people who are in the community. You have this young man, this woman right here. They have an opportunity to teach our kids about science, technology. Those are the things that we want to do in our community. We have ideas. Let us do what we know how to do, that what we've been doing for 400 years in the country, survive it, and now that we don't want to survive it, we want to flourish. And this is these opportunities give us that idea, these plans. So my time is up, my 2 minutes up. Thank you, and thanks for coming out.
Thank you, Senator, for your ongoing partnership and leadership. And I'm going to take your tactic and do the 2-minute timer from now on all the speakers. But next up, we have our delegation, additional delegation members. First up, we're going to hear from Carolyn Simmons, a representative from downstate, a Fairfield County area. She's also the co-chair of the Commerce Committee, which is a very important committee for economic and community development in our city, in our state.
Thank you so much, Deputy Commissioner Thames, and I want to thank all the leaders here today, especially Governor Lamont, Commissioner Lehman, Mayor Bronin, my colleagues, Senator McCrory, Representative Reyes, for your leadership. And most importantly, I want to thank, as Senator McCrory said, all the people here today, all of you out in the audience that collaborated to make this possible. All the entrepreneurs, all the community leaders, the nonprofit leaders. This is such an incredibly inspiring initiative to take this Swift factory, which was once an abandoned, blighted building, and turn it into this beacon of light that's bursting with opportunity for entrepreneurs, for women and minority-owned businesses who we know were hit especially hard by this pandemic and struggled to access capital. This is such a beacon of light and hope for the community, and I'm so honored to be here to join you all as we celebrate this building. And I hope you know that down in Stanford and in Waterbury, Representative Reyes and I were talking about, we want to replicate this model in other parts of the state. So thank you for being a shining model up here. And finally, I'll just say, as we're kicking off Connecticut Economic Development Week, and as co-chair of the Commerce Committee, we are trying to do everything we can to support small businesses and entrepreneurs and to help people get back to work in our state. And there's nothing more important to our state than our small businesses and our entrepreneurs. You are the backbone of our economy. You create 2/3 of all new jobs, and you have been on the front lines in this pandemic and have been so resilient amidst this difficult time. So I want to thank all of our small business owners. We've traveled across the state. Just a few months ago, we were at Lily's Soul Food meeting with the owner Andre in Windsor. We were down in Stamford meeting with Lorca coffee shop owner Layla. We were at the pub on Main Street in Manchester meeting with Keith, and all of these business owners talked about how they took salary cuts to keep their workers on payroll. They donated excess food to the community. They've been on the front line serving our communities and were forced to shut down at no fault of their own and made enormous sacrifices to protect the public health and safety of our residents and to help flatten the curve. So I want to thank all of our small business owners and entrepreneurs out there for your collective resilience. I know we have brighter days ahead of us, and it's just so inspiring to be here today and to think about all the lives that are going to be touched as they walk through this building. So thank you, everyone.
And next, we'll hear from Representative Reyes, who is the co-chair of the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus in the legislature, who has been a fierce advocate for communities of color and our city. So thank you.
What an honor and privilege to be here. I'm hearing, seeing, and believing in 06120, but my mind is already in 06706. I see this in my community. I have this very same opportunity. I represent a community just like this, depressed, has lack of jobs. The census tract says we're one of the poorer areas in Waterbury, but I will tell you that we're probably one of the poorer areas in the state of Connecticut. So I'm here. I applaud Hartford. This is such a great, great model that I've learned a lot just sitting here listening to these great speakers. And people that speak with passion are the people you need to follow. Okay, you don't need to follow people that are going to give lip service. Yes, we need to put the $150 million in, but that's just the start of the bucket. We got to put more money in that bucket because you're going to find out that in this state of Connecticut, there are many innovative, talented, young communities of color, Black, Latino, Indigenous, Asian people that just don't have the capital. They certainly know how to do it. They're artistic, they're creative, and all they need is a hand up. And as Senator McCrory said, we will hold everybody above us accountable, and I'm asking everybody that's here in front of us to hold us accountable to make sure that we continue to deliver on the promises we make. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There are many, many folks that are not in the room today that could benefit from this opportunity. And Governor Lamont and the commissioners, we will continue this conversation because there are many areas in the state of Connecticut that can absolutely benefit from this program and many more like it. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And 06120, God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next speaker is my partner in crime, Commissioner Lehman. But before I introduce him, I just want to reinforce the Swift Factory and what this model is, right? And so there are a lot of things happening. There's incubation for new entrepreneurs and small businesses. There's office space for small businesses. There's the new library coming in here that is accessible to the community and to our younger children and providing a safe space for them to learn and continue their growth. There are other opportunities here in this space, and so it really is a holistic community development project. And SWIFT really created the infrastructure and the capacity that is now enabling all of the entrepreneurs you see in here today and who we've heard from. And now we are launching a Connecticut Future Fund, $150 million for our recovery efforts in support of entrepreneurs, with majority of it, 50%, going to entrepreneurs of color, women-owned businesses, and those with disability and veteran-owned businesses. And so now that is going to provide them access to capital and resources to further their growth and development. And so I just want to put that out there because the governor and Commissioner Lamont announced this future fund last week. And so Commissioner Lamont, we're going to hear from him, and he's going to speak a little bit more in details about that, what that means. But I just wanted to preface it with, it's about supporting the entrepreneurs that are going to be busting the doors off, right, here. So thank you. Commissioner Lamont.
Glenn, thank you so much. So unlike Senator McCrory, I'm not going to set my timer, but I limited myself to a half page of notes to try to make myself efficient here. But before I talk about the Future Fund a little bit more, I do want to touch on this project because a lot of words have been used today: transformational, community, opportunity. I think all of them are 100% appropriate. And to Rep. Reyes and others here at Stanford, we need to replicate this in other neighborhoods around Hartford, for that matter. Because what we've seen is these types of physical structures, as Glenn said, increasing the capacity for innovation, for entrepreneurship. This is what changes communities. So these types of investments are transformational for neighborhoods. It enables opportunity. And we want to make sure that we're doing more of this over the next 5-10 years and really putting our foot on the gas, so to speak. The $150 million Future Fund is going to do that, and it is a start here. We want to make sure that opportunity, there shouldn't be limits on that, and access to capital has been a limit in certain areas of Connecticut, making sure that we can have, in our black and brown communities in particular, making sure that capital access is not a problem, that access to mentorship and training is not a problem. And that's what Future Fund's going to do. It's going to be $150 million, where at least half of those funds will be dedicated to those communities and to those businesses. And importantly, there's two differences here versus what the state has done in the past. One, the capital is going to be very, very flexible. We're not going to try to predefine a box. We're going to work with communities and community-based lenders for them to tell us what works. What do they need to make sure they can have an impact in really enabling a lot of the entrepreneurs that you see up here? We have not done that before, and DECD is going to work with partners in the community to make sure that our toolbox, so to speak, works for those communities. The second thing that we want to do is, this can't just be about the state government. You heard the state government needs to play a role. It needs to play a large role here. But we need philanthropists. We need the private sector. We need corporations to also play a role. Everyone needs to help lifting up all of our communities. And that's something where we feel like the state's $150 million, that can be leveraged potentially 2x or even 3x. So we could be talking about 400 or 500 million of total capacity here to help our communities. So more to come on this, but it's a very ambitious agenda. It's going to be flexible capital, and we really want the state to play a leading role, but we want others in the community to play a significant role too. So with that, I'll stop, and I'm going to turn it over to our fearless leader here, Governor Ned Lamont. Thank you.
Just hearing your stories, you got to love this community. I love this community. Hearing Steve talk about walking by here for 72 years, is that what you said? You were a stroller some of that time, I think. And Mrs. Nixon just dreaming about this, what this could be, going back 20 plus years. And John used to, where's John? I don't know. There's John, being in that house, looking at this building, saying, what could the Swift factory be? And here we are. And as Doug said, it's been a long time coming. And we were not too Swift factory, but we're here now. And we're not going to miss this opportunity. And just to the entrepreneurs, I got to tell you, there's nothing better than having your heart and soul invested in something like this. Every day, you live and die by what that is. I have that dollar, plastered on the wall. You know what that first win is like and what that means. And I love the fact that I just got a chance to talk to most of you. You're all from the community. And you were walking by this as well, always thinking about what this opportunity could be. And I think our job in government is to do everything we can to give you the very best opportunity to make the best of it. And coming out of COVID, we're going to make this make this the best opportunity out of something that was pretty negative. Doing the best we can, Luke and I were right out there during the vaccination clinic, a month ago, doing everything we can to make people feel safe, that they know that they can go Chef Walter back into a restaurant. Although you got the pickup, you're ahead of the curve. We've rolling out the most expansive daycare, childcare, at virtually no cost in the history of the state, so that single parents, moms that were hardest hit by COVID, first ones to lose their job, toughest to get back to work, make it a little bit easier for you in the best interest of those kids, the free summer camp, doing what we can for those kids, and then, helping those parents be able to get something started. And the future fund, I call it the equity fund. All you need is $1 to dream, but you also need $1 sometimes, don't you? And that's what the capital is all about. And it's $150 million, and it's for folks like you, starting up a business where you have the passion, you have the edge, and you know the community, you know what the community needs, you know what the business opportunities are right here, and make sure that you're not held back by the resources you need to make this happen. And just always remember where you came from. Always remember your community. Always remember that this was right here. This is going to be an incubator space. This is going to be enormous. I mean, okay, they were making gold leaf, whatever that is. Now we're starting dreams and starting up businesses. And they're going to be right here in this community. And that's going to rebuild this community. And they're going to be folks like Steve's grandchildren walking by, and they're going to see businesses that are up and operating, going, and saying, that could be me too. That's what this equity fund, that's what this future fund is all about. And that's what you're telling us by your stories. So proud to be with you today. Thanks, everybody. We're with you 100%.
Thank you, Governor. So this week launches Economic Development Week. There are a series of events that are happening daily that can be found on AdvancedCT, so www.advancedct.org. So please tune in. But again, we wanted to highlight SWIFT as a model of what community economic development looks like. And so thank you for joining us. And this concludes our programming. I guess we'll be available to take a few questions. Questions from press?
Yeah, first of all, this project was $33 million. What was the breakdown of state financing and private financing?
So John can jump in here, but and Mayor Bronin, but the state's contribution was a little over $8 million, and it was new market tax credits, philanthropy, and other private capital that was at the table.
I'm going to defer to my colleague Patrick McKenna, who was the project manager for during the financing as well. He can be more accurately.
Capital second. Okay, so sorry. Thanks, Deputy Commissioner. So $35 million project, 50% of that was tax credits, new markets tax credits, and historic tax credits, both state and federal historic tax credits. DECD brownfields money for demo and abatement, CRDA money as well as 3 grants from the federal government, Office of Community Service, Environmental Protection Agency, and Economic Development Administration. And then, we took on debt as well from our CDFI partners, Blue Hub, Massachusetts Housing Investment Corporation, U.S. Bank, and somebody else who I'm forgetting. So I apologize. Yeah, great.
That's why we're a team. I couldn't have said all that.
Sure. So this is a proposal, an active proposal that was a part of the governor's American Rescue Plan Act funding that is before the legislature. And so how we're looking at that future fund is essentially in 2 buckets. So there's one bucket where there's access to debt and or grants, and as well as technical assistance. And then the second bucket is equity investments. So when you think about traditional venture capital and the lack of access that entrepreneurs of color have had to those funds. We're going to set up a $25 to $50 million fund in support of entrepreneurs of color with access to equity investments.
And because of the grant, it's forgivable as long as they're hitting the box.
Right. I mean, we got to run through the details, but again, I think the basic construct is debt with some grants. That there may be some forgivable loan feature, but again, those are details that we're still kind of, figuring out.
Is 150 now, do you anticipate it to be more?
This is the initial investment, and so as Commissioner Lehman mentioned earlier, our goal is to use this $150 million from the state investment to leverage that with the private sector, and so we want to, 4X that money to ensure a sustainable access to capital for these communities as well.
Any corporations signed on yet?
Not yet. Sure.
Senator McCrory may want to weigh in. But Jody, one thing, and I forget if this came up last Thursday, but to put it in perspective, the Minority Business Initiative, which we currently utilize in certain communities, that's $25 million over 5 years or $5 million a year, and that's very specific debt. And HEDCO's done a great job getting that money out, but we've determined we need to do a lot more. So the $150 million is just the state money that's over a 3-year period. Maybe it's a little bit longer, or $50 million a year, and we think we can have a multiplier effect on that. But as Glenn was alluding to, we plan on engaging the communities to understand what's needed and what do we want to hear back from these community lenders, and we expect to take that feedback and finalizing the capital program at the end of the day.
Because eventually that goes away, right? After 3 years, the federal funds?
Correct, yes, correct, yes. But part of the $150 million, half of it is from state bonding and half of it's through the ARPA program, so it's actually a JV.
But to that point, and to your point, we're using these federal dollars as initial capacity building investments in hopes that we can grow that sustainability model over time. So if you think about if we are co-investing in a community revolving loan fund, to get it started up, we're making that initial investment, but over time, it sustains itself and then it's able to pay it forward continuously.
Does this have any overlay with opportunity zones? Is this one of them? It was 72.
I don't know.
Well, this is a zone here? Yes.
Oh, is where we are?
SWIFT or
What
the program?
Yeah, what are you asking?
Outside the opportunity zone, we are in the promise zone.
We're in a promise zone, but not in the opportunity zone.
John, you and I can bet a quarter on this, but I'm pretty sure we're in an opportunity zone too. We're not, Patrick? Not, wow. We are in the promise zone.
Well, I guess the broader question is, of the opportunity zones, do they overlay generally with target areas and or projects of the business initiative they target?
Well, the Connecticut Future Fund is focused on It's focused on entrepreneurs and small business more broadly, but 50% of those funds we want to invest in women and minority-owned businesses, which by and large are in urban centers, which many of them are in opportunity zones, if I'm answering your question.
Right. So
okay.
what does that mean then? That mean that they would get that money and then additional tax credits?
Potentially from the operating business side of the opportunity zone legislation, yes.
It's a further accelerant.
Yeah.
Excuse me, how small or large do the businesses have to be to qualify? And do they have, as far as for the revenue?
So we're working out the details, but this is for small businesses. So think about it, you can be a one person all the way up to 50 to 100 employees.